What do you make of a Tank?
Lamont Roach. I'm Lamont Roach. We've been cool since we was in the amateurs. So
Lamont, I always knew Lamont was, he wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids, so we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was coming in there to fight.
Obviously, just to secure the win is doing just enough to get a draw. So I have to push harder. I have to train harder. I have to be more mean. I have to be more physical.
Devin Haney visits Lamont Roach's training camp ahead of the Gervonta Davis rematch. Haney says he sparred with Lamont before and knows him well. He's cool with him and supports his preparation. Haney's presence shows mutual respect as Roach gears up for one of the biggest fights of his career.
Unfinished business.
What do you make of the Tank versus Roach fight? Do you think it's a fight that Tank should have at this point of his career?
No comment.
What do you make of a Tank?
Lamont Roach. I'm Lamont Roach. We've been cool since we was in the amateurs. So I'm happy that he got the opportunity. And
Devin Haney observed Lamont Roach's performance against Gervonta Davis with unwavering confidence. Having shared the amateur ranks and trained alongside him, Haney knew Roach's capabilities intimately. When Roach landed a decisive shot that forced Davis to take a knee in the 9th round, Haney was convinced he saw a legitimate knockdown. Yet, referee Steve Willis refrained from scoring it as such, allowing Davis to rise, continue, and ultimately walk away with a majority draw. Haney later expressed his frustration, telling Ring magazine, "I thought he won the fight."
And finally, I wanted to get your thoughts on the Gervonta Tank Davis situation. What was your assessment on his fight against Lamont Roach, and what are your thoughts on the knockdown that wasn't called in round 9?
Yeah, I thought it was a good fight overall. Lamont, I always knew Lamont was, he wasn't coming to lay down. I've been knowing Lamont since we was kids, so we came up in amateurs together. So I knew Lamont was serious. He was coming in there to fight, but he did a lot better than I thought he would, and I thought he won the fight personally. Yeah, the no knockdown, that was like unheard of. It was the first time I've ever seen it with my own 2 eyes, and yeah.
Yeah, you were, you've made some comments. I wanted to see the backflip, and I'm surprised Tank didn't say nothing back to you about that.
Hey, I was just speaking my opinion on it.
Behind the scenes, Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis have engaged in spirited sparring sessions, moments that surfaced once Floyd Mayweather Jr. released footage of their training in action. The video, widely circulated in boxing circles, clearly shows Davis landing clean shots on Haney.
Did you ever see him spar any of them?
Yeah.
What happened? Who he sparred?
Y'all know what happened, man.
I don't know.
He sparred Devin. It's packed, it's hot. They get in there. Tank hit that nigga. He hit him, boom. Then he hit him again, and he went out. I jumped in the ring. Because at the time, Devin is 17. It calmed down, and they got back to working, Tank got a little bit more fatigue, and once they kept going, Devin got the best of him.
Oh, okay.
But in a real fight time with 8-ounce gloves on, bye.
With characteristic candor, Haney addressed the boxing community, saying, "Everyone has their own stories about my sparring." He recognized that each fighter frames their training anecdotes to fit their own narrative. Haney might emphasize his defensive wizardry, while Davis might spotlight his power.
it was so long ago that it doesn't even matter now because we're grown men and we could settle it in the ring.
All right, yeah.
It's where it really counts because it's so many stories, so many different point of views. But I told my story, and now I'd rather just get it in under the lights.
I love that.
Counts. Yeah, our first fight, me and Ryan's first fight, we was I want to say 10 years old. So we've been fighting since we was young kids.
So did you ever build a friendship, or was it just always
between Haney and Roach extends beyond the ringside. When Haney took legal action against the use of performance-enhancing drugs and publicly criticized Ryan Garcia as a cheater, Roach quickly aligned himself with Haney's stance. "Ryan is a cheater," Roach echoed, lending vocal support to Haney's position. Their alliance demonstrates solidarity not only in competition but also in principle. It's a powerful statement. Two elite boxers standing by each other in matters of integrity, sending a message about preserving the sport's fairness. Their unity reinforces mutual respect and shared goals.
So a good question.
Oh, I'm not too into the political side of whatever they got going on. I think Brian's a cheater. I speak out against that. That's dirty. I don't care about nothing else that's dirty in our sport. Our lives are at stake. Whatever actions he's taking up against him outside the ring, I don't got nothing to deal with. I don't got nothing to think about or talk about on his stance. That's his decision.
Footage from Lamont Roach's current training camp captures a fighter delivering peak performance without compromise. In last week's video from his Brooklyn camp, Roach is seen moving with tight footwork, crisp defense, and sharp jabs. Every round of sparring is treated like a career-defining moment. There's no room for complacency. Instead, he cultivates discipline and resilience. For Roach, every jab, counter, and combination is an opportunity to avenge the controversial draw, prove critics wrong, and cement his status as a legitimate contender in this rematch.
Yes, sir. Come on, quick. Drop those hips. Nice. Come on. Give me that explosion. Rip. Good. There it is. There it is. Come on. 10 seconds. Breathe. Come on. Come on. Time. Yes, sir.
Roach's approach in this camp focuses on maximizing each punch's impact. Technical breakdowns show him not just throwing more volume but training with intentional aggression. He's working on punch placement, timing, and output intensity. It's as if he listened to the critique that he did enough, but lacked finishing power. Now, Roach appears determined to eliminate doubts. He's training harder, smarter, and with greater emphasis on making his work count when it matters most.
I have to come with it all. I have to do more. Obviously, just to secure the win is doing just enough to get a draw. So I have to push harder. I have to train harder. I have to be more mean. I have to be more physical. I have to do a lot. I have to do everything just a little more. And I think that will definitely put me over the hump. And I'm more than motivated to get back in there, get back in the camp, and work hard so I can secure a victory over a pound-for-pound fighter, in which I believe that I am myself.
Roach's pedigree traces back to a decorated amateur career marked by national titles and fierce competition. At just 16, he squared off with Gervonta Davis, gaining a rare glimpse into elite-level boxing that few young amateurs experience. That early exposure helped him build a foundation of composure and respect for the craft. Since turning pro, he's leveraged that experience, developing a tightly wound blend of technique, ring IQ, and resolve. With every passing fight, it's clear Roach's amateur roots did more than teach fundamentals. They instilled a belief that he belongs at the top.
Roach is a hell of a contender, man. Roach had a very impressive amateur record, man. Boasting 125 wins and 15 losses. 2 of those losses coming by Tank, man. Also, when him and Tank fought, Roach was 15 and Tank was 16 at the time. 3 years later, 2013, Roach actually won his National Golden Glove Championship. And he was also USA Boxing Youth National Champ as well.
Hey, yo, we're going to be checking for any suspicious opponents on Lamont Roach record. He's 25-1 with 10 big wins coming by the way of knockout, my people. He's in the super featherweight division. He's ranked number 14 in the world and number 3 in the USA, my people. He has a WBA title right now in the super featherweight division. He's fighting Gervonta Davis in December, but you know we got to check how he even got there and how he started his career. His pro debut, he went against Victor. He was 1-3. That's fine. It's your pro debut. First fight as a professional. You feel me? I ain't gonna get at you. Next person was 1-6. Alright, I mean, we ain't do better, but it's your second fight. Like, fourth person was 0-1. That was a little sussy because he ended up 0-10. He never won a day in his life. So he never got his hand raised in a boxing match. You feel me? And then the next person, he stepped it up, though. He went to an undefeated. It's only 2 fights, but he was 2-0. Then 12-9, that's a journey, man. I'm not going to lie. 4-2, 3-4, these are looking good. 8-5, that's a journeyman in the making. He got to win a record.
Teofimo Lopez has raised doubts about Gervonta Davis's reputation, particularly the value of his knockout wins. He argues that Davis has mostly fought boxers who weren't truly tested or experienced, implying that Davis's record might look more impressive than it actually is. From Lopez's viewpoint, the true measure of greatness comes from facing elite-level competition, and he believes Davis has yet to take on someone who can really challenge him. This criticism adds more fuel to ongoing discussions about Davis's career path and whether he's truly earned his spot among the best.
So you think you dominate Tank?
I think I dominate any of them. If you really look at it, if you gotta really tap in on this, look at their resume, all that extra, whatever. There's a certain limit that you hit, right? But then there's that next criteria or that next top tier. And if you don't match that, you never gonna know how great you really are. And I've done that a few amount of times already. I jumped out that box and done that. So I have yet to see Gervonta come out of that box yet. You know what I'm saying? They're about to put him with a guy at 130 pounds. Whether he's a champion or not, you're getting a guy lighter than you to come up and weight to make you look good again.
Eddie Hearn has continued to speak positively about Lamont Roach Jr., even when others have questioned his credibility as a top contender. As the promoter leading up to the Davis versus Roach fight, Hearn didn't shy away from defending Roach's skills and potential. While the public might have been skeptical, Hearn's support gave Roach the professional backing he needed on a big stage.
Year or in boxing, there's obviously been a hurdle. Will he get through the second fight, Gervonta?
Maybe not. I mean, I think he's had a result, to be honest with you, because one, he should have lost the fight. I mean, he should have had a point deducted. There's no doubt about that. But two, people criticised the Roach fight. I knew it would be a good fight because we know Roach is a good fighter, but people in boxing know that Roach is a good fighter. Now it's giving him another fight. Because if he would have beaten Roach, he's kind of backed in a corner to fight Shakur Stevenson, I think. But now he's got a rematch that's actually much bigger than the first fight. So, yeah, I think he'll be more switched on for this maybe, but Roach is a good fighter.
Even with a world championship under his belt, Lamont Roach still flies under the radar for many fans. His quieter public profile has led some to underestimate him, assuming he was an easy choice for Davis. However, those who followed his career understand that Roach brings solid technique and tactical awareness into the ring. His growth has been steady and consistent, making him a more complex opponent than many realize. Being overlooked may actually play to Roach's advantage, giving him extra motivation and allowing him to fight without pressure while proving critics wrong.
Like I said, in boxing, at the end of the day, Lamont Roach is a world champion at the end of the day. Like I said, the whole thing about Lamont Roach is that he could fight, and you can't overlook anybody, especially not at the top level. Everybody knows how to fight, and Tank and Lamont Roach have been acquainted with each other since they were young fighters. And, just coming up in the game and knowing each other, the comfortability, that's still something that can threaten one another. But I feel like Tank will come out on top at the end of the day. But Lamont might give people, a tougher fight than he might.
Speaking on that, though, like you fought guys early in your amateur career, right? And then you fight them now. Do you already know what to expect, or is there somewhat of an evolution?
No, it's definitely an evolution. It's definitely change in people, but a lot of times, probably half the time, people's mentality stay the same, and their personalities don't always change. So you might be more comfortable with somebody, just growing up with them and knowing where they come from and knowing their background and stuff, versus just not knowing the fight at all.
Who wins that fight, Lane?
Tank. I got Tank.
How?
I don't know. I feel like Tank might break him down, work his way to a knockout, because Tank is great at break the fighters down, just punches his way into it, boxes his way.
As the rematch approaches, Lamont Roach appears composed and ready. His training clips and recent interviews show a man who believes in his skill set and his chances against Davis. Roach doesn't come across as someone just happy to be in the ring. He's genuinely preparing to take control of the moment. The way he speaks and carries himself reveals a fighter who isn't intimidated by past results and is ready to change the outcome in his favor. His confidence sets the tone for what could be a very different fight this time around.
I feel like you got a certain confidence about this fight that I've interviewed a few different Tank opponents. And everybody gonna say, like, yeah, everybody say this, and that's what you're supposed to say, right? Like, I'm going into a fight. I don't think people thinking they're gonna lose, but it just feels like you have a different confidence than most other people. Where do you feel like that comes from?
That's just how I'm wired, bro. I ain't never backed down from nothing. I damn sure ain't never wanted to come second to anything. So why would it change here?
Roach's father and trainer have recognized the work his son has put into camp. He's seen Lamont train with discipline and intensity, showing signs of growth since the first fight. While he remains supportive, he's also turned his attention to Davis's mental approach, hinting that Davis may not be in the right mindset leading up to the rematch. This concern doesn't come from rivalry, but from watching how Davis is handling the spotlight and pressure. The elder Roach's balanced outlook adds another layer of insight into the upcoming fight.
Like I expected, but I knew my son was game. Training camp, he was so focused and locked in. I knew that we was gonna put on a great performance, and it was kind of like stolen away from him a little bit with the decision. But the world got to see how good he is, so that's the plus to come out of this. So he really stamped himself in the boxing world more so with this performance. So like I say, that's why it's bittersweet. We get it. We talked to the team. You know, he fresh off. He fresh off this fight just like everyone else. You know what I'm saying? He might be talking off some whispers or things like that, but I don't know his plans. I don't know his management team and stuff like that. But I know the fans want the rematch, and he should get the fans what they want.
Do you think we could see a rematch take place back in Washington now?
That'd be great. Why not? They just broke the Barclay gate, so I think it'll sell out fast back home.
Claressa Shields has voiced concern about Davis's recent behavior and how it might affect his performance. She believes mental health plays a key role in how fighters perform, especially when emotions and outside distractions start to build up.
I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older now or what, but I feel like Gervonta is a hell of a fighter, but he needs to get his mental together. When I hear some of his interviews and I see some of the stuff that he's saying, I can just tell that he's not in love with the sport no more. I can tell that he didn't get his just due. I mean, it was crazy to hear that he said he got evicted out of a house or something like that. And I was just like, what in the world? And like that type of stuff when you've been fighting and knocking people out and fighting main events. I mean, he fought four main events here at T-Mobile against some of the best fighters. And it's just like, to see that he got evicted from his home and all this other stuff. Now he got kids and, you know, he's not signed with TMT.
Mayweather.
Promotions, anymore. Yeah. It's like when I hear him talk, he's like he want to be a nicer guy for his daughters, and he don't want to be
therapy.
I think he would be better, and even a better fighter if he went and did therapy like ASAP. Because I can just tell like he's a little sad, he's a little depressed, even before this fight. You know, so I think it'd be a better fight. I think that Lamont has the mental edge. I think anybody right now would have the mental edge over Tank because, to me, he just needs to take some serious time to deal with whatever he's having to deal with. Nobody knows what it is, but I mean, me being a fighter, I have done plenty of camps where I was depressed and where I was going through anxiety. So it's not an easy thing to get over, especially when you don't have the support from certain people that you used to have. You're not motivated and stuff like that. So it can be very, very tough. So I just hope that he gets the help he needs. And I think Lamont Roach did a great job that fight. I think if he'd been a little bit more aggressive, he could have really won like a unanimous decision. But he kept stepping off the gas. So, I mean, now that he can take Tank punch, I think Lamont will be even better in the rematch because he's going to take his punch.
Looking back at the first fight, Coach Bernie pointed out moments when Roach could have taken more control. He believes Roach fought well but left some opportunities on the table. This time around, Bernie is pushing for a more assertive strategy, one that not only maintains defense but actively seeks to dominate the pace. Adjusting tactics will be key, and Bernie's feedback...
Documentary, but he did good. Lamont Roach, but only thing, like I say, if he gonna go back and wish he threw his hands more, he might start getting mad at himself and realize that he when he watches the fight, it feels good to hear everybody say that, but when you go watch the fight and you realize, I let him slide too much. Like even the last round, he's standing there posing, looking at the man like and then he got caught with a jab. That wasn't good.
So, you talked about the takeaways of how Lamont could be better in the rematch. And you're the second person that alluded to that. Tell me, what do you see in Lamont in the rematch that he could be more successful?
That's it for today's video. Stay tuned until next time. Like, share, and subscribe for more. See you in the next one.